What's up, guys? I'm back. I know. People have been writing to me and they're like, did it finally kill him? And I am, in fact, A-okay, or as okay as I possibly can be, all things considered. But I went on a little excursion. I've been gone for, I don't know, almost like 2 weeks. Feels like an eternity because when you live your life on camera, not posting for more than like a day or two, it feels very unnatural. So I appreciate you guys supporting me and sticking with me throughout this little break. And to my credit, haven't taken very many breaks since the start of this channel. So I do really appreciate you being here and watching my content. So this trip kind of reminded me of something I already knew as a kind of psychopathic watch enthusiast, an horologist, if you will. No matter what I'm doing, no matter where I'm going, I could be on the plane traveling to a destination, I could be swimming, I could be going into a literal cave, and still I will find a way to integrate my watch and make it the focus of whatever activity I am doing. Like, I'm always staring at my watch and being like, yes, this watch is perfect for this environment because this, and this. And essentially, I am doing a watch review, but not to a camera, to my wife, who is probably already sick of me. So today I'm going to share with you the 2 watches I brought on this little adventure and the gear that kept me going throughout this trip. It is 8:19 a.m. Let's get down to business. So let's start with the wristwatches, because that's why you're here. Obviously, I had to bring my Mudman. This new Mudman, Master of G, I think it's the best iteration of the Mudman variants. I think it is probably better than any of the Mud Masters, and it is fairly low profile for a Master of G G-Shock, and I know that's kind of weird to say because these are typically the hefty big boys. It did everything I needed to do. It has world time, which when you're in a different time zone, it's super convenient. It has that atomic timekeeping, so when I was in Hawaii, I could keep track of, you know, my home time in LA and the local time when I was on the islands. It was just really, really convenient. Also, it's solar powered, so I didn't have to worry about whether or not it was getting enough juice because, well, we were outside most of the time. And I really loved the fact that it has a pretty damn good auto backlight, because we found ourselves in one situation where it was just literally devoid of light. So believe me, very perfect tool for the job. And because I was often finding myself in and around moisture, yeah, my G-Shock, perfectly adequate, 200 meter water resistance rating, all you will ever need. But again, I am a watch collector, so I have to bring a dedicated watch to go swimming, and that's where my Tuna came into play. That's right, Marine Master, SBBN 031, the big boy, 7C46 movement. I knew that it would be protected with that metal shroud. It is overbuilt, 300 meter water resistance rating. It's just kind of my dedicated beach watch. But this trip really did demand more than just a couple cool wristwatches, so here's some of the gear that really helped us when we were doing this adventure. So first, remember how I mentioned that cave? Zero light, so I had to bring my headlamp. I brought my Blackfire tools. Let's see, I'm going to put the reference number here for that product. Really cool headlamp, USB-C charge. It has covers, and it's weather sealed, so it has a decent moisture rating. You are getting 800 lumens, a bunch of different light settings, white and red. The lamp itself articulates, so you can aim it down so you're not blinding other people on the trail, or, if you're reading a map or something, you can aim it down, or you can aim it directly in front of you, so literally it's just illuminating whatever you're looking at. Sammy chose to use a little gear light. Now, this is just, AAA powered. It's not rechargeable, but it does have a few light settings. It does articulate. It has white and red LEDs, and it's probably all you'll ever need. I'm just, I'm a gear queer. I love gear. That's all I want. I want all the cool accessories. That's probably why I have a wristwatch and EDC channel. So I used the big boy. Sammy used the dainty little gear light, and it's perfectly fine. Now, one thing to note, If you search for this headlamp, the Blackfire Tools headlamp, you will not find it on Blackfire Tools website because they've been absorbed by a company called Klein Tools. So you can find the same headlamp under a different product number and different designation. It's sold on Amazon under Klein Tools, but it's the same lamp, and I absolutely would recommend it. I'm going to be leaving Amazon links, affiliate links that help me out. So if you click them in the description below, I get a little kickback, and I really do appreciate it. Next up, we're going to be going down to my feet. That's right, for all you foot fetish guys, get your screenshot buttons ready because I don't normally do this for free. But okay, my little piggies were nice, supported and protected by these Ultra Olympus 5 GTX boots. Now, I am not sponsored by any of the companies that I'm talking about today, but Ultra is essentially one of the only footwear brands I am able to wear at this point. This is very strange, but as I've mentioned in other videos on this channel, I really have had to recalibrate everything down to, you know, the types of socks I wear, the types of pants I wear, the types of shoes I wear. And Ultra boots and their shoes, I think all of them have an almost zero drop design, which means your heel and your toes they are perfectly in line. Another thing with Ultra is they have very wide footwells. So it's like your feet are able to splay out very naturally. And unfortunately, with how my neuropathy is, if my feet are too confined, then it creates a huge amount of swelling and issues in that area, but it still needs a decent amount of support because, well, you know, my brain will tell certain parts of my body to move a certain way, and it just won't. So I need some support on my ankle because if I don't, then it could just, you know, collapse under me, which tends to happen, and I fall down a lot. So it is what it is. Ultra boots, they're literally the only reason that I have any mobility at this point. Again, not a sponsor, but Ultra, if you're watching this, I really would appreciate it. Next up, a very last minute purchase for this trip. I wanted a new day pack. I didn't want to bring any of the ones that I've been using because they are filled with gear that I have for either go bags or for my camping trips, and I needed something for this trip and I didn't want to have to unload some of my other packs. So I bought this Marting Top 25-liter day pack on Amazon, and it has immediately become one of my favorite pieces of kit over just, you know, the last 2 weeks. It has MOLLE webbing all over the exterior, so you can attach whatever you want there. I clipped my Garmin InReach unit onto there. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I also clipped my sunglasses onto there, and it was just very convenient, and it held literally everything. My 15-inch laptop, so I was able to do some work on the trip. It had, you know, all of my gear, my meds, hydration, our snacks, camera equipment. It had literally everything I needed for these trips that we went on over the last 2 weeks, and it's shown very little signs of wear. So I've already put it through its paces, and it's proven itself, so I absolutely would recommend it. And it was pretty inexpensive. I think I got it on Amazon for under 40 bucks. So yeah, 2 thumbs up, big time. Next up, something I just mentioned, and a piece of kit that I've mentioned many times on this channel, my Garmin InReach Mini. So this is a GPS unit that has emergency comms if needed, has a SOS button, and you know, when you are traveling anywhere, I would absolutely recommend this. They have 3 tiers, I believe, of you know, subscription services, so you do have to pay for it. I have the middle tier, and it gives you like more message ability, like capabilities. You're able to send more messages via the satellite, and it's I don't know, that you can pick the tier that works best for you. Another really cool thing about the Garmin subscriptions is that you can pause your subscription. So if you have a season that you know you're going to be hiking more, or you're going to be hitting the trails a bit more, then you can start up your subscription and pay for that service. And if you know that like during winter you're not really going to be heading out anywhere, you can pause your subscription and they keep all your information, and it's very, very convenient. It wasn't just kind of a nice bit of kit to have on this trip. When you're traveling into a cave in an area that you are not particularly familiar with, and specifically if you have like a neurological disorder that limits your mobility like I do, it was kind of a necessity, and it was a big peace of mind. Another thing that helped is I had a beautiful registered nurse with me the whole time, Sammy, so I was perfectly fine the whole time. Very happy. So guys, those pieces of gear, everything from the wristwatches to the backpack to the boots, everything, yada, 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 they really did make me feel a whole lot more comfortable while I ventured very, very far out of my comfort zone, because this was not really simply a leisurely vacation. It was very much a personal test. And here's where we get into this kind of crazy breakthrough, I think. This kind of, oh, moment. Before my injury, I didn't really care about traveling at all. Like, it was never on the forefront of my mind. The last decade, or the better part of the last decade, I was focused on building this channel, building my businesses, building my brand, my social media presence, kind of honing my craft, making better content, learning about filming, about editing, learning more about watches, learning more about how to market myself. And that's why I can honestly say I haven't gone on very many vacations over the last decade. Like, sure, I would go on long hikes. I was very active. I would, spend long weekends going camping. I would overland whenever I had the chance. We would load up whatever vehicle I had and we'd go on, long camping trips and whatever. I would run very regularly. I would run about 2 miles a day. I would lift heavy. I would do jujitsu weekly. And this was my life. I was focused on doing the things I loved, but being productive and, providing value to you guys and myself. But then the injury hit, and suddenly it went from me being able to kind of do whatever I wanted to me now having to calculate every literal step I took within the house, to me having to plan every little thing leaving the house. Like, literally from point A to point B would be from my bed to the bathroom, and I would have to adjust where I would move, how I would move, what things would be in my path, and how long it would take me to get there. And this is my new reality. And then it's kind of the whole you don't know what you got till it's gone thing, right? Like, when I was healthy and I had all the freedom, I could go on vacations if I wanted to. I just didn't really care about it. Now that I am severely limited, it was all I wanted to do. I wanted to live my life. And so what many of you might not know is this vacation was scheduled well over a year ago. And we've had to push it back 3 different times because of my injury and my recovery and how my health has been. And at this point, this time in May, it was not just, a vacation. It was an act of rebellion. It was a proving ground. It sounds very dramatic. I understand it. Like this try-hard cringiness, this drama that I am conveying to you. It might sound silly, like, oh wow, he went on a vacation and he's making it sound like he's storming the beaches of Normandy. And the truth is, this kind of was a personal battle for me, because just the thought of going through the airport to a terminal was something I didn't even think I would be able to do. And I tried it and I couldn't. So I needed wheelchair accessibility, and it's kind of humiliating to be a 6 foot tall, 240 pound powerlifter and having some little Filipino lady pushing you on a wheelchair throughout the airport. It's not something I would have expected to experience at this point in my life. And so I mentioned a couple days in, when I had that oh f*** moment, it was a moment that kind of hit me harder than I expected. And it was when Sammy and I went snorkeling. We get into the water, we fix our masks, we purge the water from our snorkels, we're kind of floating around. I'm looking at the reef, and I realized that, I would see something, Sammy would point it out, and I could actually just go to it. And then I would see something else, and I could just go. It was very surreal, being able to just move to an area without having to, brace myself or focus on my balance or focus on my limp or holding my cane. I was able to just go wherever I wanted without my cane. There was like very little calculation. There was no fear. It was just movement. It was then that I like really felt free. I can honestly say at that moment, it went from me sometimes feeling like I wanted to take my life to me realizing that I'm going to take my life back. And so that first snorkeling kind of adventure was definitely the first win, but there was something that I really had to do, and it was kind of looming over me, and it was kind of this thing that was in the back of my mind the whole time I was traveling there, the whole time we were there, until it was finally the day I had to do it, taking on the Kaumana Caves. So we first started our trip on Oahu, and we hung out like all around the North Shore, Waikiki, all of that. And then we went to Hilo. That's where the Volcano National Park is. That's where the lava tubes are. We went both of those places. I got this really cool hat there. And they have this volcanic cave called the Kaumana Caves. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. And it was something that I thought was off the table, like permanently, since my mobility issues. It's dark, like pitch black, it's uneven, it's slippery, it's unforgiving. So I put on my G-Shock, I strapped on my pack, I lit up my headlamp, and I went into the cave like I belonged there. Because at this point in my life, it feels like I really did. If this disability is going to drag me to rock bottom, then I am going to go into a literal cave underground and wage a war at rock bottom. Every step burned. My body has not had to endure that in a very long time. My nerves lit up like a signal flare. Everything was just on high alert. You want to talk about that little voice in your head telling you you should probably stop? It was screaming at me. But at this point, I am sick of that voice. That voice has been loud enough for long enough. It's been reminding me of my limitations for the better part of a year now. So I climbed down into that cave. I ventured forth, and I proved something to myself. I'm not finished. I'm not fragile. I'm not scared. The cave didn't beat me. The pain didn't stop me, and the fear did not win. And listen, guys, I'm sure a bunch of you have done that same hike, going through the caves in Hilo, and it's probably a walk in the park for you guys, but for me, it feels like I really conquered something. It feels like I did something that was totally off the table for me at this point, and it felt good. It felt like I won. It feels like I took a lot of ground that day, and it proved to me that I'm going to do that every day. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and take more ground, and the day after that, and the next day, and the next. One shaky, awkward, uneven step at a time until I take everything back. I love you guys.